Frankfurt, Union Berlin, Freiburg, all with a chance to close the gap as well. They're in action on Wednesday. For more on this, let's welcome in, shall we? Aage Fjortoft joins us. Jan, what's wrong with Bayern?
Well, they haven't won a game this year. They haven't won a game since before the World Cup, if we put it that way. But I think they still do enough. I mean, that draw in Leipzig against maybe the main challenger this season, Marco Rose, has, got them going and are winning 6-1 now in Schalke today, and they are flying Leipzig, but Bayern took a point there. I mean, I think that the problem with Bayern at the moment is their own expectation. I always said that the only team that can beat Bayern is Bayern itself, and there's a lot of things going on at the moment. This game, the first half they weren't good at all, and the second half you see slowly they came into the game, although they didn't create a lot of chances, and then they needed a fantastic goal that Joshua Kimmich did there at the end, and then they took a point. But it was a point lost. Last time they lost a point, we thought next day Freiburg, who was second in the Bundesliga, they will have a big chance now playing in Wolfsburg. They lost 6-0. So, I mean, that is, sorry, then again, typical the Bundesliga, typical Bayern.
You alluded to the fact there's a lot of stuff going on at Bayern, Jan. Let's address one of those subjects now. They sacked their goalkeeping coach. Why is this a big deal?
Because this is a soap opera, and it's a soap opera with keepers. First of all, after the World Cup, Manuel Neuer, as we know, went for a ski trip, which went into maybe take off his career. So people are now thinking, could he be finished? And then they were looking for a goalkeeper. They got Jan Sommer from Gladbach, who's a great goalkeeper, 34, but still a good shoot stopper. They gave him a 2.5 years deal, meaning that they're not 100% sure if Neuer come back Bayern either. So then Nübel, who is on the Bayern's book, he's playing in Monaco. He started complaining about the goalkeeper, never got in touch with him. Then there were kind of rumors that he was only taking care of Ulreich, the second goalkeeper, and Manuel Neuer. And then I think the top of the iceberg was then he was also accused for leaking information from the dressing room and going against Nagelmann. I'm not sure what's fact and what is just spin from Bayern, but he was fired today, and he's been there for a long, long time. Tapalovic has been an institution there, and I mean, there are goalkeepers maybe in the studio can explain to us this relationship between a goalkeeping coach and a keeper. And maybe in this case, with Manuel Neuer and the goalkeeping coach, maybe now when it comes to an end of Manuel Neuer, it came too close for Bayern to stick with him.
It's huge. I think, listen, it's a big deal from a goalkeeping perspective. Especially when you've worked with one coach for as long as Manuel Neuer has, you develop that kind of relationship, that understanding. When you've had this success developmentally that Manuel Neuer has, and established yourself as one of the best in the world, you need that. You need that support. You need somebody who understands you on and off the field. And this is a blow. And maybe Manuel Neuer's injury has got something to do with it, as Jan is suggesting. But just to lose a long-standing coach who you've had success with, I find that surprising.
Yeah.
You're right.
Well, what I really didn't need today was a goalie conversation, to be honest.
Well, there we go. Right, let's get moving on. I don't want to hear what you've got to say.
Shaq was talking there, and you couldn't have looked any more disinterested in his explanation.
It's normal. Jan, I just want to talk about something else. I don't know how much you're on top of this. Salihamidzic has come out and criticised Serge Gnabry for going to Paris. What's this about? Can you give us anything more on this?
Well, this is a modern football dressing room. Xhaka, Craig and myself, we were happy if we could take the train to London, wherever we played. But these guys and these modern players, when they have 1 day off, 2 days off, they will sit in the dressing room, they will call up the private jet, and they will ask the teammates, will you go to Paris or will you go wherever? And Gnabry went to Paris on his day off. And the German press, of course, reported it. And Salihamidzic is criticizing him for doing that. He should concentrate on his job. Gnabry doesn't have that great credit at Bayern, being the full professional fitness guy like a Joshua Kimmich, for example. But I think this is a symbol of these new players. I just heard a story the other day about the English Premier League, where the managers, or the manager, he doesn't dare to say that you will have a day off. He will say you will train on the Tuesday, because he is afraid to say that on Sunday, because on Monday then they will start doing all kind of organizing, going to south of France, or going to Dubai, go with their private jets and so on. And then they, instead of that, just wait a couple of days and then say you will have tomorrow off, and then they can't organize it. And I think that is it's a funny kind of change in attitude from back in our days, where the private jet, at least I couldn't afford that at Swindon and Barnsley, Middlesbrough and Sheffield United.
He was there for Fashion Week. Obviously, we saw Tchouaméni in Paris as well for NBA was criticised. Is that big a deal? Get on a plane for your day off, go to...
Well, I'm getting a bit sick of all this. I mean, Tchouaméni the other day, Gnabry, there's a list as long as your arm. But one of the things we hear from managers and, I suppose, players and coaches is tiredness from travel, right? And guess what?
Yeah.
It's not exactly around the corner, is it? Jumping on a plane and going to a different country. And so I suppose you could throw that at players and say, look, come on. Because, you know, you hear coaches when they've got games and they're coming back from a European game, be it a Champions League or whatever it is, saying, well, the travel's come out, it's not easy. So as a player, you're just leaving yourself open to the coach saying, this was your day off and you're entitled, I suppose, to do as you please within reason, but this is not the most professional thing to do in terms of preparation. But as Jan said, what are you laughing at?
I'm laughing at what you must have got up to on your days off, suggesting that you just sat at home watching tape.
Well, we played golf.
But then I'm sure there was partying. You went out. You did what you would do.
Yes, but that was that was.
But that's okay because you didn't get on a plane to do it.
That was a different era.
Right.
I'm not. No, and I'm not. Listen, it's not okay. That was not the correct thing to do. But that was the generational thing that was done.
Right.
Generally, and as you grow up and you watch others doing, but the game and the way that players and clubs and all these athletes look after themselves, it's just different. And what's expected of them is different now. I mean, that what went on 20 years or so ago just would not be tolerated now.
Right.
Let's get back to goalies.
No. Listen, I don't think it's a big deal. If it's Serge Gnabry's day off, I mean, I'm not sure how long the flight is from Germany to France, but if it's his day off, I have no issue with it.
Around 45.
I think the difference
a big deal.
with Tchouaméni is he goes during a game.
Right.
And in that circumstance, I think if that's what you're doing, at least clear that with the club. But to the point Jan and Craig are making, while we didn't get onto private jets, we could jump in our cars and drive for 2 or 3 hours.
Right.
To go wherever else. And And that wasn't perceived as being an issue. It's different now, but I don't see it as being that different.
Go on, yeah.
I don't think that it's a matter of what you do and not what you do. I mean, my era, when I came to England, I mean, the days off were filled up with golf and a couple of pub visits, and the Wednesday was one of the greatest days of the week. But it's what's expected in 2023. That is not expected anymore. And if you see the situation now in Germany, I will take that isolated why Salihamidzic is reacting on this one. That is the backlash after the World Cup. The German national team embarrassed themselves there. There have been 3-4 weeks now of getting all kind of committees, internal, external. Rudi Völler, who is 63, is 62. He will lead that project as a head of sport. They're going to do a kind of attitude. I have no problem that the players do whatever they want in the private, but you have to read the room. And I don't think Serge Gnabry read the room in this case, going to Fashion Week in Paris.
Well, there's a simple way around this for clubs, right, to an extent. Each club can set their own rules and regulations for those players, and they clearly know what the parameters are. And if they don't want the players to travel on their day off to a different country, then they have that in their discipline. And if the players do it, then clearly they've gone out with those boundaries.
Right. Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.